If we use OKRs to say no to other work being work that isn't contributing to our OKRs, which is really the mechanism for focus, how do the urgent and important things that come up during the quarter get done? How do we do other things? Like if we're saying no to things, and the corollary to this, or the flip side of this, is that if we do all those urgent things, how do we make sure we're doing enough work on our OKRs? And this is quite a profound question, and this comes up because a lot of people in the OKR world talk about using OKRs to say no, and I certainly talk about this as well. They're a great focusing mechanism, and Steve Jobs had this really good video quote, or what some, in fact, when he was alive, in fact, when he first rejoined Apple about 20 years ago, 15 years ago, whenever it was. And he had this quote, which was basically about focus. And he says, focus, people think, and I'm going to misquote him here, but people think that focus is about saying yes to certain things, as that, deciding to focus on this or focus on that. And so I say yes to this, and focus is about saying yes harder. But that's not true. What focus is actually about, it's about saying no. So you have to decide, I'm not going to do those things. These are things I'm not doing so that I can do this. Now, OKRs help you with that, because they're basically, the objective and the key results are saying these are the things that are important. These are what you should be focusing on. If something isn't one of these things, then probably say no to it. Hence the question, well, what about the urgent and important things? Because there are always urgent and important things that come up. Now, here's an area that is actually interestingly similar to the other question. It's a bit different for scale-ups than it is for more mature companies. In a scale-up, there are more fires, more urgent and important things that pop up randomly and fast, but also a lot of those things can be left. And if you read Reid Hoffman's, is it Reid Hoffman? I think that's the right read. I might be getting the wrong read. But the guy who wrote Blitz Scaling, the ex-LinkedIn guy, I'm pretty sure it's Reid Hoffman. Read his Blitz Scaling book anyway, the book on Blitz, called Blitz Scaling. He talks about just leave most of the fires burning and put out the most important ones. Just worry about the most important ones. And when you're a scale-up, this is the right way to do it. You can leave some fires burning, because as you're scaling, you're growing fast. When you get to the next level of scale, or just a bit more scale, it becomes easier to put out certain types of fires. So you need to select your fires, which fires you're going to do. In a more established company, you kind of need to work on a few more things at the same time sometimes, I think. But again, my focus is on scale up, so I think more about the scale up problem. So number one, some of those urgent and important things, when they really are urgent and important, they can still be left, and that's okay, and you can leave them. Often those urgent and important things aren't actually urgent and important at all, and they just sound like it because someone's yelling about them. And so there's this, no matter what you do, there's no hard and fast rule here. There's no sort of like, you can only work on 3 urgent and important things in a quarter, and you can only do this with 10% of your time, or anything like that. There's no hard and fast rule, because every situation is different. And as leaders, we need to be making constant judgment calls over whether this interruption urgent and important. Should I put it? If it's not, well, let's not think about it at all. If it is urgent and important, should we address it now, or should we patch it up, like just work around it? Should we actually solve the root cause right now, right? Like, have I done that right? Should we solve the root cause? Should we just patch it up, or should we ignore it, right? And all sorts of urgent and important things can go in those 3 buckets. Do I just put the fire out and keep moving? And now, if we do that, what you're doing is you're potentially saving up debt for a future, which is a problem. However, you then have the OKRs to help you focus on the things that you need to solve. You can decide which pieces of debt I'm going to be working on which quarter, as opposed to, oh no, there's a fire, let's go and fix everything related to this fire right now. May be a good idea, may not be a good idea. You have to make a conscious choice. So that's the biggest thing, is like using that constant judgment. The second thing that's interesting here, I think, is just tracking. And I sent I can't remember if I sent a post or an email about this or both, but I certainly wrote about this recently. Just track, what are you doing? How much time are you spending on OKR things, like things you've consciously thought about and decided to invest in? And how much time are you spending on interruptions and urgent and important things and firefighting and things like that, right? Now, again, it's not that 10% is too much, or it's okay to spend 30% on all circumstances. There's no right answer to this. In different organizations, in different times, in different teams, it might be 90% is okay spending on urgent and important things. Like if you're in sales, for example, every deal is urgent and important all the time, and you should spend most of your time on those deals. If you're in customer support, frequently enough, most of your work is interrupt-driven, urgent, and important, because customers have needs, and that's the right thing to be doing. If you're in product or engineering or something like that, you need to be working on a lot of the strategic things and less time on those urgent and important things, but they need to happen anyway. Bug fixes need to happen. Security incidences need to be fixed. Track the time, track how much time you're spending on it, and have a look at it, decide at the end of the day, is this too much time, or is this the right amount of time? If it's too much time, or is it too little time for that matter? If it's too much time, then start changing it. Start investing more in things. Start being more willing to say yes to things. If it's too much time, which is usually the problem, to be honest, be more aggressive about deciding which ones of those urgent and important things to work on, and which ones to just patch up now, and which ones to leave for another day. Let the fire burn, right? So that's one of the things to think about here. Consciously think about how much time you're allocating to these things. Now, on a regular basis, though, you have this regular sort of like, we have like our weekly meeting, we're doing reviews of stuff. What you want to be doing is making sure that you're reviewing on one side, you're having a weekly meeting about the plans that you've made to deliver your OKRs and the work that you're doing to deliver your OKRs. And again, I've talked about this previously, but structure that around the plan. So as opposed to reviewing the OKR each time, review the plan and then think about how does that help me read the OKR. On the other side, you can be reviewing your weekly metrics deck and your regular anecdotes from customers, or whatever it is, the complaints or the issues that are popping up, the anecdotal issues that are popping up. You look at your data and your anecdotes, right? And then this kind of thing is something that happens every week. You're looking at your key performance indicators, your metrics deck, whatever it is, you're comparing it to last week, you're seeing what's happened, what's changed, which fires have started, which fires have gone out. How do we know whether this is really a fire or not? And because you're looking at this regularly, you're able to see and start making those judgments about what should I be doing here? Should I be spending more time on this or less time on this? Do I need to do this? But you've got these two mechanisms, these reviews, to drive, first of all, which channel am I using? First of all, the planned project work, the planned work that is urgent and not, or important but not urgent, which is the OKR type work. But then you're also reviewing your metrics to decide which things are urgent and important that I need to interrupt and do things with. And you're making some conscious decisions about this. The key here is to use your brain. My old manager, Nikos Krivosidis, a fantastic manager from Google, I learned huge amounts from him. He always used to say, don't do anything stupid, right? And the idea here is that, yes, you have OKRs and they tell you what to focus on, urgent and important things come up, but use your brain. Think about this. Think about what you're actually trying to do. Make conscious decisions about, should I be spending time on this, or should the team be spending time on this or that? Is this worth interrupting ourselves for? And you need to make those right decisions. And don't just simply look at your OKRs and say, well, the right decision is to do this. However, my OKRs say that, therefore I must do that, right? That's what Nikos would call a stupid thing to do, right? That's doing the stupid thing. Do the thing that's sensible.